Okay, we are at the Lasker Method to improve in chess, a manual for the club player, the last game of chapter 4 on the attack. So this is game 20, Christoph Zeal against Gerard Welling, that is one of the authors of this book. Gerard Welling is nearly 2400. So international master level. This game was played in 2002. White plays e4, g6, d4, bishop g7, knight c3, a6. Obviously, here the move that you would play is d6, okay? Because you could enter in King's Indian or something else, who knows, because there is also the hippopotamus, who knows. A6 is definitely interesting. Maybe he wants to play b5, okay? I don't know, but this seems the idea after a6. Let's see what the author writes, because he puts a diagram. He says naturally 3d6 is played more often, but the text move has some psychological value. The Slovak master Maximilian Ujtelki wrote in a game annotation back in 1964, at first sight a small bizarre move, but in fact a similar position arises when black plays 3d6 and a6 later. It has happened to me that the opponent fought half an hour about the refutation of 3a6. So this is kind of interesting. However, today we are kind of more prepared about openings, because maybe we play much more blitz, and this kind of strange moves happen more often, in my opinion. So he played g3. After the aggressive f4, black positioned himself in an original way in the game Bredevut Ujtelki in 1969. So it seems in 1969 it was f4, b5, and here there is a part of the game that we don't really care to see. Okay, g3, b5, like I thought, bishop g2, bishop b7, a3. Sometimes you need to defend this because you don't want to lose control of e4, d6. So this could be a transposition, right? Knight g e2, obviously he doesn't want to lose control of e4, knight d7, castle, and c5, attacking the center. Very interesting. Here it says, with a timely counter-attack on white's center, black assures himself of reasonable counterplay. Okay, bishop e3, c takes d4, bishop takes d4, knight g f6. Obviously, to exchange in d4 wasn't probably a great idea. Knight d5. Here, probably white misstep, because he should have played something like this. It says e5, d takes e5, bishop takes b7, e takes d4. And black would have to spend a considerable amount of time calculating the results. And here there is some lines. Practically there are 3 different lines that the author gives, but at this point it comes to beg the question, would did he do it in the game, or did he do it thanks to a computer after? Because you understand, this is the point, this is the point. Let's see one of them, okay, just to give an idea. So, d takes e5, bishop takes e7, e takes d4, and now what happens after take, bishop c6, take again, rook b1, and queen c7. For example, if you were black here, how would you evaluate the position? Who has the advantage in this position? In the book, the author writes, black has sufficient compensation for the exchange with his compact position and white's damaged queenside structure. Yeah, white could have a damaged queenside structure, but the reality is that white has two rooks, and maybe is able to use them. Who knows? We are at move 15. The analysis started at move 11. There are other possibilities, however, here, okay? So let's go back to the position and see what it is. So in this position, white played knight d5, but in the book he said it's better for white to play this. But after this, and this, we start to have a lot of variation. For example, what would happen if white plays this? Okay, rook b8, bishop takes a6, queen e5, and bishop takes b5. And here it says, further analysis at home, when tactical lines can be checked with engine help, prosaically show a flaw in black's calculation. White plays 15, queen a7. So instead of this, he played this. And in case of rook b6, queen a8, overlook, knight b8, and bishop b7. Interesting. The part I don't understand is why bishop b7. Yeah, because bishop takes b5, rook takes b5. Okay, as you can see, however, in this position we are at move 17. The author is not able to analyze this in a game. That's the truth. And most of the chess players are not able to visualize well up to here. Obviously, maybe Magnus Carlsen, the top 10, have that kind of analytical mind, but this book is about club players, right? Club players are 1800, 2000, definitely not 2300, 2400. Okay, so I will put back the position as it was, and then we continue to see the game. Here there is another line again that we could analyze, which was a take with knight takes d4. But honestly, buy the book if you want to watch it. Okay, so we are at move 11. Welling tells us that e5 was the best, but in the game, knight d5 was the move played. How did black continue? Castle, knight d2, which is a dubious move. It seems white should have played knight takes f6, bishop takes f6, and this was balance. Why knight d2, bishop, queen d2 is bad? Because e5. And now practically knight takes f6 is not good anymore, and the white needs to go back. Bishop c3, knight takes d5, e takes d5, and here black plays f5. It seems this f5 is not a good move. Why is not a good move? Because this gives the opponent counter chances on the dark squares, which would have been non-existent after a5. So the move to 5 to play was this. Obviously at this point we know why, because after f5 probably white will play bishop. It's not bishop b4, it's bishop a5, the move. Okay, that's interesting. Queen c8. Rook a b1. A mysterious move that went far beyond black's limited understanding, but which is intended to prepare b3 and c4. Then, when the vis-a-vis of rook b1 with the bishop b7 provides white useful chances. Okay, interesting move. Knight f6, b3, rook f7, and c4. So this is the theme of all this chapter 4, right? We continue to see that one side attacks on the queen side and the other side attacks on the king side. Generally the attack on the king side wins. Why? Because it threatens checkmate, and that is kind of important, right? So here we see the same thing. Now the problem, like another FIDE master pointed out in a tweet, is what happens when that kingside attack plan is refuted. Why books don't show us when the plan is refuted? I obviously don't have the answer. I think we can see and find many books, not many books, games, for example between computers, in which such plans are refuted. In fact, most of the games between computers ends up in a draw. But obviously Wellings and Giddins are trying to teach us something, so they must show us something that works, because if they show us something that doesn't work or lead us to a draw, why are we paying the money for a book, right? That's the part that is not clear to me either. If they would show us a perfect game, then why do we pay, right? Because there is no reason. So black continue with h5, and here there is white has managed to develop counterplay on the queen side, which after rook f c1 will soon develop into an attack. That is why it is logical that black wants to do something on the part of the board where he has a superiority of forces. In reality it doesn't, because 1, 2, 3 plus 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6. Sorry, there is no superiority here. They are equal. And generally you need even more pieces to dismount the defense. Only one piece more probably is not enough, because you need to sacrifice it. But let's see what happens. There is nothing to be gained with direct action, hence the reason for the march of the h-pawn forth, somewhat weakening the white king's bastion. Okay, let's see what happens. Queen b4, sniffing his chance. White throws all of his forces into the battle on the queen side. In the game, it will turn out that black's initiative on the king side, though nearly invisible at the moment, will grow considerable after some white pieces have been moved to the other sector. For that reason, rook fc1 may have been more sensible than queen b4, okay? Queen f8, now there is a majority of forces. Knight c3, now there is a majority of forces because white is moving all on the queen side. And, knight c3, h4, rook f d1, h takes g3, h takes g3, e4. This leaves the entire queenside to the white forces, but intends to weaken the king's security, even more with e4, e3. At the same time, it frees the square e5 for an eventual knight maneuver. That would be knight g4, e5, and the bishop on g7 briefs again. Okay. Let's see what happens. Bishop b6. It seems that maybe for the computer, white's best practical chance was knight e2 to take advantage of a square f4 that has become available. Post-mortem analysis shows black chances here as well, but the character of the game is not very forcing, so there is probably scope for improvement. The problem is that white just played knight c3. How would he ever play knight e2? That doesn't make any sense, right? Unfortunately, as humans, we don't really like to play backward moves, so that's why I think it's strange. So bishop b6, knight g4, c takes b5, e5. A tricky finesse that gains black time for his attack and sidelines the bishop. The balance of force on the king side is thus disturbed even more, because practically this bishop is protecting this, is controlling this, so is a good bishop, right? But e5 makes white play this, and now it's a problem here, right? Okay, so let's see what happens. Bishop takes c3, queen takes c3, knight h6, threatening here, bishop b6, controlling here, and rook c8. The queen now must give up her defensive post on the third rank. Queen d2, f4, obviously you don't want to exchange the queens, g takes f4. So let's keep in mind that if white played bishop takes e4, queen h2 check, king f1, and then there is a free, and white loses, right? So that's kind of important. So let's see what he played. After f4, g takes f4, rook takes f4, bishop e3, because logical, but the follow-up is forced now, and white is blown away. Yep. Queen h2, king f1. Now, if you were black, what would you play? Because I think this is a kind of important to pause and try to find the right move. Notice, otherwise you don't learn anything from the book, you don't learn anything from this video. So you need to pause the video and find the right move for black. The right move is rook f3, boom. Why? Because if he plays bishop takes f3, there is e takes f3, and these two squares are controlled, so it's easy to give checkmate, right? What do you play as white is rook e1, rook c f8, rook b2. As you can see, it's all a fight around here. Rook g3 you cannot take because this. Bishop takes e4, and now black played bishop c8. Bishop c8. Wow. Here there are analysis for, instead of bishop c8, rook g1, knight takes f2, and what else? And that's it. But the analyses are kind of detailed, so I think obviously this was kind of important. I mean, bishop c8, it's really an important move. Queen d4, rook takes e3, rook takes e3, and rook takes f2, and white resign. This is the final note of the chapter. It says, another example of a battle raging on two sides of a board. White and black each in their own half. Even if we are attacking in our half, this does not mean we should forget about the other half. White forgot about this for a moment, but he didn't forget for a moment, he just had a different plan, and that plan wasn't good at all. And deserted his own kingside in order to attack black's queenside, which was a major reason for his downfall. Black, however, kept this in consideration, and a couple of moves on the queenside gave him time to eventually succeed on the other part of the board. So we should not forget to consider the situation on the whole board. So the final advice is watch the whole board. This was the final game from the Lasker Method to improving chess for club players. I hope you will enjoy the book. Let me know if you like to see more games. For example, there is a beautiful chapter 9, if I remember well. Yeah, chapter 9 is full of games to analyze or to watch the analysis they made, because it will teach you also a kind of opening repertoire that they advise in chapter 8. So the book is really interesting, worth studying. I think it's a good addiction for everybody.